It's so much easier. So, and now even a lot of students from India study in Europe as well. So they study, imagine, at INSEAD, LBS, HEC, IAC, the school that are convenient, okay? But of course, the MBA is an American thing, okay? And if you want the real thing, it's probably better to go to the US. But of course, it requires much more work, much more sacrifice, etc. Okay? So this year at MBA Center, we got quite a lot accepted to Colombia, both. So we have students who are going to start this September, many from Spain, and also some from for the J term. Okay, and Joao will tell you what is the J term. Now, Joao, nice to see you. You still on
Hello.
mute? Yeah, yeah. So, but Joao, first of all, I've not seen you for some time now. And you moved to New York like almost 7 months ago. So, what it is like to study at Columbia, Joao?
Well, thanks, Hubert, for the question. And first of all, well, good afternoon to everybody.
Mhm.
And it's a pleasure to be here today. And feel free
No,
to
for us as
ask me
well. For us
whatever
as well.
ask me whatever you might want to know about my experience so far. But I mean, Hubert. So I think that yes, the experience in Colombia and in New York has been like absolutely fantastic. Um, First of all, like we were lucky because so I started last January, and we actually inaugurated the new campus of Columbia. I'm not sure if you've seen, but there's like a brand new campus, like a fantastic building, like actually two connected buildings that give all the conditions to like world class conditions for us to be students. So this was also something that helped a lot our experience. On top of this, uh, I believe that New York helps a lot or adds a lot to the MBA experience. So we have a lot of talks, we have a lot of conversations with different CEOs from a lot of world companies. Like there's a really huge connection between the university and either Wall Street or like the whole group of um, entrepreneurs and also corporations from New York. So that's also like a great thing of the MBA. You literally have access to a lot of good people just on your normal day-to-day basis. But besides that, I think that the experience itself, so the classes and the classmates, of course, it has been like an amazing experience. I'm meeting like I've met people from all over the world and with huge quality. So I mean, it couldn't be better on that perspective. But I would say that like the quality of the experience is actually the connection of all of these aspects: the school, the classmates, the city, and everything that we're learning.
Okay, so that's yeah, I'm happy to hear. By the way, when you apply, there was still this question of how will Colombia, are you the right fit for Colombia? There was still this question. Now they change it in the application, but there was still an experience explaining how being in New York will contribute to make the class in will contribute to the MBA. And tell me, Joe, so what is a typical day for you? So let's mention not a Monday, but a Wednesday. What is a typical Wednesday for you?
A typical Wednesday for me. So last semester I was having class on Wednesdays. I was having classes only in the afternoon. So a typical Wednesday for me would be basically uh, going to school in the morning to probably catch up with some group assignments that I had for to deliver either Wednesday or Thursday. So this is like a thing from I believe almost all MBAs, but Columbia is also no exception. Like the workload is super heavy. You need to always get on track with all of these assignments, all of these talks, all of these classes that you need to take. So you need to do a lot of time management. If you don't have that skill yet, you will for sure need to learn it during the MBA. So this is for sure something that is present in all my Wednesdays. But then probably during lunch, I would have some sort of talk, depending on like the club I'm in, or the kind of topics that I'm interested in. But there's almost always options for talks during lunch. If I don't have a talk, I will have for sure like a class lunch before I start my classes of the afternoon. So these look like a generic kind of a Wednesday for a first year MBA. And then what you do after classes, it really depends. Sometimes there's also social events. I love to do some sports at the end of the day, and I also love to enjoy the city. Now that weather is fantastic, so I love to go to Central Park. I love to go downtown to have dinner with friends, either from the MBA or from the city. But yeah, I would say that this is what a normal Wednesday looks like for me.
Okay. So basically, when I talk to students, you see, Joao, what they usually tell us, they say we have classes, we have group we have work with the team, and then they have either social activities or meeting with companies. So that's basically the three big activities that you have in the thing. So tell me, and how does the group work? So you work with a team. Is it the same team for every class? Is it a different team per class? Will you have the same team for the next all year long? How does it work in terms of teamwork? You choose your team or you impose a team, for instance?
Sure. Sorry, Hubert, can you hear me? I just switched to the headphones.
Okay, so basically what I wanted to say is that how does so since the MBA is divided between classes, teamwork, and social activities / career events or whatever, how does it work with your team? Have you selected your team? Are you impose a team? Will you keep the same team during all your MBA? Is it a different team per class? How does it work, the teamwork how often do you meet your team?
Got it. So the way it works at Columbia is so you have two different situations. One is for the core courses. The second is for the electives. So the core courses are basically the courses that you will have in your first semester at CBS. And these we're talking about accounting, we're talking about corporate finance, so all the core courses that you can see in the website. So for these core courses, we have what is called like an assigned learning team. So you are basically assigned to 5 other classmates, and you will do all the group assignments with this exact same learning team. But then after the core, you will basically choose your own electives, right? And you might or might not have classes with the members of your group. So in all the electives, you actually don't work anymore as a learning team. You do your own group for your assignments. So yeah, these are the two ways to go for your assignments.
And tell me, Joao, so within your team, can you give us an idea of within your team? What is the background of the people who are in your team in the core courses?
Sure. So my learning team, like I believe that that the school tries to match you with as much different types of profiles as possible, either by geography or by industry. So our team basically, it's me from Portugal, so I have sort of a mix of entrepreneur and tech kind of background. Then there's 2 American classmates, one from finance and one from real estate. Then I have a Russian colleague coming from consulting. Then I have a Taiko classmate coming from management / family business. And then I also have like an Italian classmate coming from investment banking. So as you can see, there's a lot of diversity, either by geography, industry, sex. So yes, I would say that part is quite good because you experience a really diverse learning team with a lot of different stories and different experiences to share, and that contributes a lot to having a great work experience with your learning team.
Okay, so yeah, it's diversity. Alors, I mean, there's also something else that you told me, because I know that you got a daughter in November or December. Okay,
Yes.
so you live with your family. Okay, and
Yes.
and so what is, because I have two students that are now in class with me who are going to apply to do JETERM. There's Hervé, they are both from Cameroon, by the way, and Soral. Okay. By the way, are you in contact with Eromo, our student from Nigeria? You know Eromo? Eromo?
Yeah.
He was my student. He's from Nigeria.
Yes.
He did very well. So what I want, what is it to be with your family? Are you, do you have time for them, or you're too busy? Is there a partner program? How do they enjoy their time in New York as well? And how do they enjoy their time?
Sure. So, well, first of all, one great thing is that if you have a family and if you plan to do your MBA in New York with your family, most likely you will not be by yourself in the situation. So you have classmates also with families there. Like one great thing is like right after the first week, there was already like WhatsApp groups for people with family, people with children. So there's a lot of people connect a lot based on what is specific from themselves, and in this case, for the ones that have families, like there's also like a great ways to connect with each other, and ways to help each other in anything that might be necessary. So you feel that you have a lot of support, and that's fantastic. The experience, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, of course it's eventually more difficult than for someone that doesn't have a family here, because of course I need to split my time between my assignments, my classes, the whole typical MBA life and responsibilities, and also my family. But I mean, that was like that was my choice, so I was quite aware of that. But I think that what is dependent on the MBA environment, so either the support from the school, support from your classmates, and of course also, and this is very important, the understanding from the professors, because sometimes I don't know, Laura gives me like a really difficult night, and I can't deliver that assignment at 9 a.m. So it happened more than once, and I just emailed the professor and said, "Look, professor, well, Laura gave me a hard night. Would you mind if I deliver the assignment like at noon?" And everyone is super understanding. Everyone is super fine with that. So count on a lot of both support from classmates and school, and also a lot of understanding from everybody of the situation. And one last thing, I also, so I don't know how it works in our schools, but in Colombia, you are given the opportunity of living in one of their houses. So they have a lot of houses across the city, and they also give the opportunity to have like a full house for your own if you are a family. So that's also super useful, especially in a city like New York, where the real estate can be scary.
So you mean that you have your own house in New York? You live in your own house in New York? Yeah.
Yes.
No, you live
Yes.
in your own house in.
Yes, I'm living in a full house, well, full apartment for me, right next to the campus, and yeah, and the house is rented by the university. So the university is is the owner of a lot of properties. So they give you this opportunity.
So it's a
And
good thing. Yeah,
it's a
because I
good thing.
imagine that
And
a house in New York must cost a lot of money. So they rent it to you for cheaper than the market price.
well, that part unfortunately is not like that. They rent for market prices.
Okay.
But I mean, but at least they save. Like if you are an international, it's actually more problematic, like the bureaucracy to rent a house, because all the bureaucracy that is required is targeted to people that live in America. Like they need a social security number. They need like the pay stubs of the last 3 months or the last year from the United States, which an international you probably don't have, right? So that part helps a lot, because if you rent a house with Columbia Housing, first, I mean, you got a slightly lower price than the market, but I mean, it's almost on par as the market. But the main gain is actually that you don't need to provide additional documentation, like your documentation from the application is enough.
Means you have been accepted.
Yes.
Yes, you have been accepted. It's yes. While you were talking, I was checking the price of an apartment in New York. It's 8 million.
It's crazy.
8 million, 5 million.
It's crazy. And now of course with the inflation, etc., things are even worse. But I mean, there's more than one things of looking to that. Like if you are a student, you have this safety network of the safety net of university. So they try to to avoid that hustle of going to the real estate market of New York. But I was about to say, like, on the other side, there's no other better place than actually New York to learn on how to navigate this real estate business, right? So it's actually one of the flagships programs of Columbia. Like probably it's the best university in the world for real estate. I'm not sure if this is like a rule, but if it's not the best, it's one of the best for sure. So yeah, there's more than ways of looking to the real estate problems of New York.
Yes, probably. So tell me now, maybe you could introduce yourself, Joao, because me, I know you, work with you, but maybe you can introduce yourself, and after that, I will have questions about post-MBA prospects. Basically, you want to introduce yourself, maybe because we have about 20 students who came. So, who are you, Joao?
Sure. I'm super happy to answer that. So, well, I'll try to not bother you a lot with this, like in short. So, Joao, as Hubert said, I am from Portugal. I have 35 years old. I'm a little bit on the older side of the spectrum of the MBA, even not too much. So I would say that the average of the J-term program is around 31. Prior to CBS, I created my own venture. So I created like a data analytics consultancy company based in Lisbon, that then was expanded to other cities in Europe, like Brussels, for example. Recently I sold the company to a private equity fund from London. So I got like this whole experience of entrepreneurship, from creating till actually selling the company to the next owner.
But tell me, Joao, so talking about that, I'm going to jump on that. Have they bought, because I saw it was on your LinkedIn profile, so I saw that was it that you sold it, or was it that you have received investment?
No. I sold the company. So I sold 100%. We sold 100%. Yes.
And so they don't let you develop the company. They bought the company from you, and they okay.
Yes, like I decided to do not remain there, because I want to do something different after the MBA. But for example, my former partner, he's still working for the company, but we are not the owners anymore. That's
okay.
The 100% of the equity was acquired.
Okay. And I told you, by the way, remember when we were talking, I told you that probably the best thing that can happen to you because you were mentioning that you wanted to come back to Portugal, and I said, look,
Yes,
if you go to New York, if you go to Colombia, it doesn't make sense to come back. Plus, you have already a success story. I created a company, I sold it. So you have already a great success story to tell. Huh? You agree to everybody. So and now you're completely free. Okay. So of
true.
course it's
That's
international. And but what happened is that you sold it when you were doing the MBA, or you
that's
sold
right.
it before. Yeah.
You know, it was during. It was like 2 months ago, roughly
Yeah.
two
Two
to three
months ago.
months ago.
Okay.
Yes. I mean, I still want to come back to Portugal because well, because it's what I'd like to live in the future. Eventually, I would like to have like an experience for a few years here in New York before moving back to Europe. But yes, but I still want to go back to Europe. That's still my plan for now. But yeah, so before actually creating this company, I was working for a big retailer in Portugal called Sonai. If any of you have heard of them. And before that, I started my career on a startup in Lisbon. And academically wise, so my background is civil engineering, but then I did a master's in data science and artificial intelligence. And it was actually these masters that then led to the creation of the company in this field. So I would say that in short, this is my profile.
That's your profile. Okay. Alors, basically, so the first question that we have for you now is that, okay, we understand pretty well when you have decided to take Colombia, uh, uh, and it makes sense, but you have decided to do something called the J term, to apply to the J term. And that's something that people do not know because they believe that you can, that an American MBA is a 2-year program, that you start in September. So can you explain to our students, okay, to the other MBA Center students, what it is, how it works, the plus and the minus as well? Hello, we lost Joao. Hello, we lost him. Kenya,
Yeah,
hello,
he's coming back.
going back. He was the thing that he was in the park. So it's very interesting. Alors, so what it is like, this J term, what are the advantages? How does it work? What are maybe the potential drawbacks? Yes.
I see. Sure. So my decision to do the J term was basically because um, I found more value, on a program that gives you the same but for less time, right? So I thought that having the same course load, having the same MBA experience, but in a 1.5 years rather than two, could be probably better for me because I could be less time out of the workforce, and since I was not sponsored, I preferred this option. So this was like a really personal decision. It will of course vary depending on what you prefer, what your goals are, right? So, but my rationale to choose the J term was basically this. If you what I can find now is that so the J term cohort, I would say that has some sort of specificities of the J term itself. So it's usually more international than the A term. So this is one thing that for you to consider. Like if you prefer to have more classmates from all over the world, J term might be an option. If you prefer to have like more classmates from the US, probably the A term would be better. But I mean, the difference is not huge. But in the A term, you'll have more than half of the class from the US. In the J term, you'll have more than half of the class from outside. So I would say that you will also have more people, for example, from consulting in the J term. These fact, I don't know why. Honestly, I don't know the reason, but I just found that more consulting people just prefer the J term. What else? One thing that is important to take into account is that if you select the J term, you will spend half of your summer having classes, which will not block your opportunity to do a summer internship, but it will for sure reduce the time that you have to do a summer internship. So, for example, you won't be able to do like a 3 months summer internship. You might be able to do 1 month, 1.5 months maximum, but that's it, because the other half of the summer you'll need to spend it having classes. So to give you an idea, literally this last week, so yesterday was like my last exam of the summer semester. So it's only now that I'm sort of free. So again, something for you to consider if it's what you like or not. What else? But I think that in general, the rest is exactly the same. Like the program is exactly the same. You have the same workload. You have the same courses. You have the same professors. Everything is the same. Eventually, what the school also mentions is that, so if you really want to do like a huge career change, maybe the A term is more flexible for that, because again, it gives you more time for the summer internship. So that's why someone that wants to go from, I don't know, consulting to investment banking, or investment banking to tech. So these people probably prefer to do like a strong summer internship. But if you don't focus too much on that, I'd say that the J term is a great value for money. That's my point of view, and I couldn't be happier with the decision. Like I also feel that the cohort is super supportive, like full of great and super smart people. So I couldn't be happier with that.
So tell me, Joao, and you're going to do an internship, or what are you going to do? You have 4 weeks, 5 weeks? How much have you got? How much time will you have? 4 weeks, 5 weeks between now and
so,
when do you resume your class? Late August? So you have 6 weeks, something like that? Yeah.
Yeah, sort of roughly 6 weeks. So I will have I will spend some time on holidays in Portugal, because again, with a baby, you need to spend time with family, right? But I will one thing that I will that I'm in conversations to do, and I will probably start in the beginning of September. So I will probably not do a summer internship. I will do an in-semester internship. So as of September, I will do like half of the day part-time internship, the other half, the rest of the classes. Because I decided to take more courses throughout spring and summer, so I can then have a lower workload in the second year, so I can fit like a semester there. So this was my strategy. A lot of other classmates decided to do like a summer internship. Some others are doing both. So it really depends on what you want. But in my perspective, so what I want to do after the MBA is venture capital, and this industry is super network driven, and you really need to sort of meet people, show your value, ideally working with them. So yeah, my strategy was to do an in-semester internship throughout the full second year. But I prefer that than actually to lose my summer time.
Okay. So of course, something that I want to mention as well is that the fact that you're in Europe allows you to do a sort of in-semester internship. If you were in Indiana, University of Indiana, at Duke, at Cornell, even at Harvard, it would be impossible. So I've noticed that a lot of the students who go to Columbia, that's the advantage. They can also network much more than what they would if you were, I don't know, in Ithaca, Raleigh, another city. So it's a big advantage. Yeah, that's the New York advantage. So
That's
tell me,
that's right. That's fantastic. I can't stress more that situation because I mean, and it works both from the perspective of what we can call like the passive network. So you know the talks that you have at school, like you know everyone that goes to campus just to talk. You know, we're having like CEOs almost every day joining campus, grabbing some pizzas, and gathering a cohort of 30 people and just having a random lunch with students. This happens all the time. For example, I remember one amazing one with the CEO of Shake Shack. So literally, he went to one of our classes and he brought food. You know, of course, Shake Shack hamburgers, and we had like a great lunch event with the CEO of Shake Shack. You know, so you have these kind of things that I believe are super unique to New York, at least in this huge dimension that we can notice. But it's also like the active networking. So it's super friendly to email an alum from Colombia that works, you know, on a big firm downtown and say, okay, you have time to have lunch next week to sort of talk about your experience. And everyone is super friendly with that, and everyone loves to receive you. So yes, that's part of the MBA experience that is unique from New York, is absolutely incredible, and I would say also priceless.
yeah, that's for sure. So basically, so your objective, because remember when we were talking when I met you like 2 years ago, so the objective was to develop your company. So now you're going to go in a completely different direction. So you're going to go in the VC sector, but with an expertise in IT. At the same time, because you have expertise in IT, so you no longer want to develop a company. You want to have a more traditional career in finance. Huh? Yeah.
So yeah, sort of. I wouldn't call it traditional career in finance in the sense that VC is not super traditional, but still, it's closer to what you're saying than what was my initial plan, right?
Okay.
So, I mean, my rationale is so as an entrepreneur, I would say that you always have this will of creating something new in the future again. But what I thought was that maybe I would like to be, maybe I would like to spend some years on the investment side before actually creating a new venture, right? Because I mean, venture capital lets you keep connected to the entrepreneurship world, to the startups, to founders, to all these network. But you are just on the other side of the table. You are on the investment side and not on the operational side, right? So this was my strategy. Of course, again, like all the network, what you learn in school, all the things that you learn from classmates and from professors, give you different perspectives and different career options than what you get before, of course, like an experience like the MBA. So yes, on that perspective, Hubert, I had this slight change for the short term career plan after the MBA. But I would say that I keep this idea of one day creating a new venture again.
I'm sure that you're an entrepreneur, but I agree with you. And my experience, by the way, as an entrepreneur, it happened to me that I sold companies. And usually, you know what, the big mistake that I did was to try to recreate one immediately after. And strangely
Yes.
enough, it's not good because it's not good. Okay. To the worst, you should even take 1 year vacation. Okay. And
Yes.
enjoy life. Because when you retry, usually it's not good. You have to. So basically, doing MBA it came to the right time that you sold the company because now you have. Can you imagine if you had, for instance, not done this MBA? Okay, you would have sold the company. This MBA was a great. The timing was great. Alors,
Yes.
would like to come back on something. So basically, according to me, disadvantage of being in New York makes probably Colombia the best MBA in the world. Okay, because yes, you see, you have rankings, whatever, but at the end, you say the fact that I am in New York and I can beat my network in New York the place where anywhere will work. Okay, makes a big difference. I'm sorry, but when you're a Harvard graduate, you have to commute each time you want to go to New York. Okay, in Boston, you have, of course, you have investment, you have many big companies, but cannot be compared. So it's a big advantage. Okay, the other advantage what Joao did that is very interesting is that by starting by applying last summer, okay, he could start his MBA now and finish in 2023. Imagine that he had done like the regular process, he would have wasted 1 year. Okay, he would have graduated in 2024. So basically, he will finish his MBA at the same time as some of my students who started in basically almost 1 year before you. Huh? Okay, so it's 1 year after you. So basically, it's a big advantage of the J term, and you know that we are used to that because INSEAD, IE, HEC have 2 entries. Huh? Okay, IND as well. A lot of Canadian MBAs have a starting date in January, and more or less Australian ones as well. But of course, it cannot be compared. So Colombia is the only one to have these 2 terms. But you have to understand that okay, you don't get an internship, but somehow you still have like 6 weeks where you can do an internship. And anyway, the cities offer so much that you can find a job. Me, I remember, you see, Joao had a student was class from Monday to Thursday morning. Okay, she could create a company, and she had Thursday afternoon, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and she created a company in New York. Okay, then she sold it. So basically, of course, it's a big advantage. So now, Joao, of course, many students are here. Many dream of Colombia, but it's not as easy as you can imagine. So how much work did it represent for you to apply and to be accepted? How much time did you take? What was the process?
Right. So, well, of course, the process I mean, I wouldn't call it difficult, but you need to spend a lot of time to be successful. But I mean, this is not exclusive from Colombia. I think it applies for all top schools, right? There's no. I used to say that there's no easy way. Like if you want to apply to one of to a top school, like you need to spend the time on it. You need to do the GMAT or any other
Yes.
tests. You need to think a lot on all the essays. You need to network with alums. You need to network with eventually professors or whatever you find valuable, and you need to think and rethink and write and rewrite and write again all your essays, and you need to to be super strategic about all the aspects of the application. But I mean, I would say that for Colombia, like the process for Colombia is not that different than the process from other schools. Of course, questions are different, so you might need to change your strategy based on the specific things of the school. But I would say that the time you need to spend for the application is probably equivalent to any other top school. In my perspective, I think that I've spent like in total I would say about like for sure the part that I've spent more time with was the tests. So the GMAT, the executive assessment. I ended up doing the executive assessment. So this is eventually one tip that I can give to you is that don't focus on just one test. Try to sort of explore the components of each test. For Colombia, you have 3 different ones that are accepted. So you have the GMAT, you have the executive assessment, and you have the GRE. My assessment was that based on what I know about myself, I prefer the executive assessment because coming from data, I prefer to have like the integrated reasoning counting towards the final grade, because I sort of understood that I was better on that, relatively speaking. For sure, you guys would be able to identify your own strengths and try to select the test that maximizes your strengths. This would be my 2 cents on this perspective. And one thing that I noticed is that most of my classmates, some got in with the GMAT, some others with the AA, some others with the GRE. So there's no golden rule for the tests. The pattern I see here is there's no pattern. That's my conclusion on that regard. But yes, I needed to spend a lot of time doing the test, especially because I was also working at the same time, and I was working on my own venture, which gives an even bigger responsibility. But I believe that if you've taken the time to do that, then for the application itself, my best advice is be candid about yourself. So don't try to show that you are 100% perfect. Of course, maximize all the great things that you've done, but also be open about mentioning that there's something that was less good, and just show how you learned with that and how you became a better person. So I think that schools love to understand both sides, right? The great achievements, but also the less good things and how they changed you for better. So this was sort of the strategy that I applied to my essays. And I also tried to network a lot with people from the school, alums, students. I even got in touch with a couple of professors from the entrepreneurship field, because I wanted to learn more about what the school was doing on that perspective. So yes, well, time-wise, I don't have a perfect answer for you. Yes, you need to spend a lot of time, but I don't think it's more or less than what you need to spend to any other top school. But there's also no secret for that. Just be yourself. Try to show your best self in the application. Focus on the tests, and try to know as much as possible about the school, so you can sort of differentiate. Yes.
What you have done, but I remember that when you came initially, you were more interested in INSEAD, no? Because it was a shorter program, and you had this plan of coming back to the company, probably, and of course it's cheaper, probably, to study in Fontainebleau, for you being, plus you'll be closer to your family, and then the plan changed, and of course you cannot say no to Columbia, because Columbia stands higher. Now, I'm going to ask some students. I have Sorel. Sorel is one of our students, so now you know that MBA Center is creating a sort of NGO now in Africa, where we develop. So it's not done yet, but we have more African students coming up. But Sorel, she's already one of them. So Sorel is a bright engineer.
Yeah, okay? Hello.
But she's from Cameroon. Sorel, you have a question to Joao, Sorel? Sorel.
Yeah, yes. Initially, when I was considering, when I tried to look at the Columbia program, I saw a comment as if the January intake is more for those who wish to create their own company, and the August intake is more for those who completely want to change the domain where they're currently working, with the advantages of the summer intakes. So that's why I'm like, is it interesting, a good decision for someone who wishes to change the domain where she's working on to a new one, to do the January intake, considering the fact that we don't have, as you said, the possibility to have longer intern, maybe to get more insight on the new domain where you want to switch to. This is the main constraint that I have with the January intake there.
So basically, Joao, so do you think that starting with the J term, but I think that you already replied to this question, okay? Is it a bad idea to want to change career?
Sure, Sorel. Yeah. I'm super happy to answer you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I would say that that you can literally do both in both intakes. Okay, so you can literally change careers, create your venture, uh, you know, keep going, keep staying in consulting, whatever. So you can do it. You can do both in both intakes. But you are super right. Like, if you really want to maximize the odds of, on a career change, probably the August term would be better, for the simple reason that it gives you more time during the summer to have a longer internship, right? But at the same time, the J term still lets you do a summer internship. You just need to do it like in a shorter period, right? So again, the difference is literally just a logistic kind of difference between the two programs. You'll have the same courses, you'll have the same professors, you have everything. It's more for you to sort of decide if you prefer to do it like in a shorter term or not. But for example, from an employer standpoint, no one cares if you're coming from the A term or from the J term, right? They like, most of the times they don't even know, right? It's more like, if you really give a lot of value to having like a proper traditional summer internship, yes, the A term is better. If you're fine with that, and you want, and you don't want to have an internship in the summer, or you just want to do like a semester, both options are super viable.
But Johnson, sorry, it makes also the program more affordable. Huh? You save 4 months, so that's something that you can take into condition, and you have to see that anyway Colombia has an incredible network, an incredible reputation, so the degree has value. Huh? Okay. Anyway, you make so I'm sure that Joao has already built a consistent network. Sohab, you have a question. So Sohab is our student from Pakistan, I believe. So Sohab.
Yes. Thank you, Rodriguez. It was a very comprehensive session, and I'd really like to congratulate you on your current performance. My question is that, since we are standing in July right now, and I also plan to, plan for my admission in the coming year in 2023, early 2023 in the J term, or probably in, as Dr. Hubert suggested, programs like INSEAD or GC that starts in January. So how do you manage and plan your timelines in terms of looking after deadlines, in the sense that, does it affect your application process if you apply early or you apply late? And you mentioned that you spend a lot of time on your GMAT score. So what do you think is the ideal time? 2 months, 3 months for giving the exam? And if currently I'm standing at July, would I be able to apply for the J term in Colombia or any other school in the January term? Thank you.
So basically, the question that he asked, and you understood the question, that's something that you face. Yes, well, you got the question. Go ahead, Joao. Yeah.
Sure. So, well, thanks for the question, Swahab. So, I think it really depends. Like, the timeline management sort of also depends a lot on your own strategy, right? So, for example, the way I faced it was like, as Hubert was saying, like, I was thinking in the beginning to do an MBA in Europe for several different reasons. But then at some point in time, I decided that I would prefer to at least try first the ones in the US, because I would prefer to if I was accepted, I'd prefer to do one in the US. So my strategy was to apply first to the American schools, and then to the European schools. So this was my initial plan. Just because I didn't want to face the situation where I would receive, for example, I don't know, an INSEAD offer first, before actually waiting for, and then I would need to accept it or reject it before actually waiting to receive an answer from an American school. So because of this situation, I prefer to apply to Colombia. first, and it was actually the only one I applied to at that time because of the J term. So I was basically yes, Columbia was like my target school, as long as with MIT, for different reasons. I preferred, like, I was seeing like Columbia as the best one for networking, being in New York, being like probably the best in a lot of finance topics, etc.
Hello? Yeah. Hello? I lost you, Joao?
I think we lost him.
Okay, so he's in the park. So basically, you understand, but what I want to tell you, Sohab, is that for inside it's pretty late because of course they have extended the deadline, but the last deadline for January is mid-August, and it was supposed to be in 3 weeks, by the way, huh? And they have extended the deadline, so it will be difficult. The advantage, I think that with Joao, we applied in September, okay? So Colombia leaves you more time to apply, okay? So last year, the deadline for applying to INSEAD was late July, and we've been able to apply early September. So Colombia gives you more time. Now there are also other schools that have entries in September, in January in Europe. As you know, it's INSEAD, HEC, IE, and IVD. Yeah? Okay.
And a lot of schools in Canada as well, as you mentioned.
Yeah, that's so you have to mention that. Who is following you? So you followed with by Aman, by Itika, by whom?
Hitika.
Okay, he has no battery. Okay, so it's a bit unfortunate. So so I'm going to try to answer. So basically, Joao is currently in class with two of our students, one from France and one from Nigeria. Okay, it's a very good thing. I will invite them as well. Okay, especially because the Nigerian one is interesting, and the Nigerian one was a bright guy. He got 740 on the GMAT. An interesting guy. So basically, Joe, he has a problem with the battery. The battery is gone. Okay, I don't know what to do. I will try to answer the question. I'm not a Columbia graduate, even though I applied to Columbia when I was 22. I wanted to do the MBA, and I got rejected. I did not even get an interview, but I was 22, no work experience, so of course it was difficult to do so. And at my time, when I applied in '92, there was no deferred MBA. So basically, I see that Amraj, you have a question, so I will try to answer the question because anyway, he has a problem with the battery, so he stayed with us 50 minutes. Okay. So basically, Amraj, what is your question? What questions have you got? Amraj?
Hello, hi, Dr. Hubert.
Yeah. Hello, Amraj. So what
Yes.
questions have you got? Yeah.
Yes, so like considering my 3 years of work experience, so would you suggest me to wait for an year or more, or there are great chances for me to get an admit from top 25? Like I'm targeting Tepper and NYU.
So when did you graduate, Amraj? When did you graduate? Which year? In 2020, 2019?
20.
20? No, it's possible. Yeah, you'll be among the youngest. Now, basically, you see, there is no time to do an MBA, but Joao, that's something that he did not mention, is that Joao, basically, he had 2 masters before applying. Okay, so he had 2 masters, then he worked, then he created his company. So, of course, he had a different timing from yours, but according to me, the sooner an MBA, the better, provided that you have some of experience. So 3 years, it's enough. It's not because you have 4 that they will take you. Okay, 3 or 4 years doesn't change much. Okay, it's more like when do you feel that you want to do the MBA? Do you feel like it is next year or not? Okay, so Tepper, to give you an idea, Indian student that I got accepted to Tepper, they had a GMAT around 650. Okay, so Tepper, Indiana, BU, Georgetown. You need something like a 650. Okay. So Amraj, you got 750 GMAT. Hello, Joao.
Yes,
so
yes.
You're back. So he was asking us.
Hubert,
So what
I was
question? So basically,
I run out of battery, so yeah, here I am again.
Okay, you run out of battery, and you were in your garden. He was in your garden. You were in your garden. Yeah, he was
Yeah.
your garden. Oh yeah, but
No,
you
no,
lucky.
no.
That's good to know.
I'm actually in Boston for the weekend. So
Okay, yeah,
yeah.
you lucky. So basically, Amraj was asking us, he will have 3 years of work experience by next September. Do you think it's a good idea for him to apply for an MBA, or he should wait?
I think, well, I think it really depends on you. I don't think there's a rule for that. Again, like my classmates, I have classmates with 3-4 years of experience. Some of them don't actually have years of experience. So, for example, there's classmates that came directly from the medical school, and they are doing like a mix of an MBA and med school. Some others have like 3 years of experience. Some others have 10. So I don't think there's a golden rule for that as well. Like I would say that if you feel it's the best time for you to do an MBA, and you feel that you have like that those 4 years are strong to sort of convince like a career management person. I don't think like the fact that you just have 4 years is like a blocker. It shouldn't
Yeah.
be.
So probably, Amraj, of course, when you have this type of experience, 3 years with an MBA, there's a good chance that you work in consulting, for instance. You see, because they like this type of profile. Okay.
Yes.
It's less likely that you have a management position in high tech. But for consulting, it would be a great thing. What else I want to say with you? But you see, Aman is sending me. You see, he got a GMAT 750. Okay, Amraj. So 750. I'm sure that you had good grades, so you should try. Okay, but he doesn't want to try Colombia because you see, Joao, when you come from India, it's very difficult to get a top school. But he's aiming Taper, this type of school. Now, Amraj, you can be more ambitious. Okay, we will apply to the school that you mentioned. Okay, but we can be more ambitious with your background, with your 750. We will probably try at least NYU, Duke, Cornell, Georgetown, Taper, Berkeley, UCLA, and we'll try, some in the top 10 and some in the top 15. Okay. Someone else has a question. So Sorel, she has another question. Okay. To be one of the only women here. So Sorel, what is the other question that you have for us?
Yeah, thank you. So I wanted to know also, Colombia is more, in terms of professional orientation, it's more for consulting or industry, or what are the career profile generally when we come out from Colombia?
Sorel, sorry,
What did you say?
I'm not
What
sure
did you say, Sorel? What did you say? We did not understand very well. What did you say, Sorel?
Can you
Sorry,
repeat
I
your
was
question, please?
asking. Okay,
Yeah,
sorry, I was
right.
asking, like, for Colombia, what are the career profile after the MBA program? Like, is it more consulting oriented or industry or something else?
Got it. So, I think there's I mean, again, the golden rule is there's no golden rule for that. This is the first part of the answer. So I have people from all over the place and all over the industries and all over, like my classmates come from almost all industries, and they also want to do something different, like in the future. So there's no golden rule for that again. But having said that, you also like when you try to think of New York, eventually you try to say that, okay, I want to go to New York because I want to maximize my odds on doing something that might be related to New York, right? So these, I would say, is one of the things that sort of fits perfectly Colombia, and all of these industries are, everything related to the finance industry in the first place, like investment banking, even consulting, everything related to this is like a perfect match for Colombia because of New York, of course. But I mean, also healthcare, etc. Like these industries are also super strong here in New York. even though they are less obvious for most of the people. So this is one part. Another thing is entrepreneurship. So the school is focusing really a lot into becoming like the best entrepreneurship school of the East Coast. So this is like and actually I've seen the data, and I think that Columbia is actually the fourth school of the US with the biggest number of unicorns coming out of the school. Only overtaken, I think, by Stanford. No, I think it's actually the second. I think, and it's only overtaken by Stanford, if I'm not wrong. But I mean, the school is focusing a lot on that. So they are trying to like give the entrepreneurship experience and all the conditions to the students, and also connect this kind of experience with with all the finance industry, like all the VC funds, all the PE funds, all of these things that are abundant in New York. So I would say that again, there is no specific industry, but for sure everything related to finance is like, it's a traditional kind of great match. Everything related to healthcare is also like super related to to a lot of the New York ecosystem. All of these big bets on the entrepreneurship is more like a recent thing, but it's super good and it's growing like crazy, and the dean is supporting a lot. And of course, and then you also have like the typical traditional consulting roles, and basically like I would say that roughly 35% of the MBA cohort is like people from consulting. So I mean like Bain, McKinsey, BCG, etc. So yeah, I would say that Columbia is less of a school that you can immediately understand like a pattern there, right? So you can sort of fit almost everybody. I also have classmates from the army or from the art industry of New York. So you literally have everything.
This is possible. But basically, you have to understand it's true, and Joao will tell you the same. He will confirm. Don't worry, we are going to have one of the last questions because you came to Boston to be with your family and friends. But of course, it's rare that you have
fine
with
yeah. I'm fine.
But you see, we have so many from INSEAD, from LBS that of course they're happy to have someone from Columbia. So basically, what you have to understand is that these MBA programs are very expensive. Okay, you agree? And
sure.
Of course, consulting and investment banking pay very well. Okay, if you find yourself with 300,000 dollars debt, you know that with a job in consulting or investment banking, I have students who told me, you see, Joao went to Wharton, who told me that after that they have worked in consulting, they've paid back their debts in 2 years. Okay, and of course, if you decide to work as a teacher, you will pay the interest maybe the rest of your life. Okay, so that's why they go to this type of jobs, because these jobs are very well paid and they pay well, and you know that. It's not like being an entrepreneur, which is super risky. So you know that there will be a salary. And I believe that once you have been into that, you want to capitalize on the MBA. How do you capitalize on the MBA when you're an entrepreneur? So, okay, maybe I don't even need to do an MBA to be an entrepreneur. But you know that because you have an MBA from Columbia, you get a good salary. So it's a way to say, this MBA cost me a lot of money. I worked hard on it. So it's normal that I can get payback as a great salary. That's why consulting, investment banking, or venture capital are so common after the MBA, because they pay well. Okay, and also they give you a good career tracks. So, imagine that you finish Columbia. Imagine that Joao decide to work for McKinsey. He will be hired as an engagement manager, probably $150,000, probably even more, 180. Okay, it's difficult. It's not easy, but he was he's a hard worker, and probably after 2 years he will be already in the 300,000. Okay, so it will make sense. Okay, it will be a way to say, look, I pay so much for my MBA. You understand, Sorel? You anyway, Sorel, you're not an entrepreneur, and given your profile as an engineer, most likely you will work in consulting. See, Sorel, most likely you work in consulting, because engineering it works pretty well. It's pretty good fit for an MBA. Huh? There's
Yeah, but so it means that I don't need to have like a financial prerequisites, for example.
yeah, okay, yeah. Hervé, so let's ask a question to Hervé. Hervé, you have a
Yes,
question for us?
yes. Okay, thank you
Hervé
a
is
lot.
also, Hervé works, he went to a good engineering school, and you come from Cameroon, but now you're based in France, and you work in the energy sector. So you work for the
Yes,
energy sector, okay?
right. Yes, thank you a lot, Joao, for your
Yeah.
point. Yes, I know that live in New York is very expensive with your family. I would like to know if you get a scholarship, and if not, if you take a loan, if you get a loan for that, and if it is easy to get a loan in USA for strange people.
For foreigners, you mean, yeah. Sorry.
Yes, foreign people.
Yeah.
Got it, Hervé. Well, thanks for your question. Sure. I mean, the first part is certainly true. Yes, like there's no nice way to say it. Yes, New York is super expensive. You need to count with that. Like there's no way around it. So the way I decided, like I didn't get a scholarship because because I'm not sponsored, but I just decided to do not apply. But I think that's but I think that most of the people that apply, if if you don't have enough means, or at least if most of your means are basically loans, it's super easy to get like a partial scholarship. But again, don't count on that to finance your MBA. Like the way I would put it is more like okay, so like I got the financing that I need for the MBA, but maybe I can just add some additional bonus money and eventually to make me able to pay my debt quicker, right? So again, don't quote me on this in the sense that this is just my opinion. You might do it differently. There's no rule on this, but this is the way I see it, and I think that most of my classmates they also face the scholarship more like a bonus than actually like a huge support, right? From the the loan perspective, my idea was actually to apply for loans in my home country, so in Portugal. And back on those days, I noticed that like the student loans. So my strategy was actually to apply to 2 different loans in 2 different banks, because there's like a product in Portugal. I'm pretty sure that in France and a lot of other countries, there's also like similar situations. Like you actually have student loans programs on a normal bank, and they tend to be much less costly than a normal personal loan. And to give you an idea, the loans I've seen in the US, they are, you need to pay interest of roughly like 7%, 8%, 9%. In Portugal, I'm paying like roughly 3-4%. So it's roughly half of what you pay in the US. So my best advice is, if you have this opportunity, at least explore it, and try to understand if you can have a loan in your home country. Probably you'll get better conditions than in US, because the only way that like if you have no relationship with the United States, like if you've never worked here, or if you don't live here, if you're not national, right, your credit score will be zero, right? So you would only be able to apply to the traditional MBA loan houses that sort of have agreements with the schools, but these houses they can be expensive, right? So that's my advice.
Okay.
Like if you have the opportunity to apply to a normal student loan in your home country, most likely it will be better than to apply to the normal, loan houses of the MBA.
You see,
Okay.
Joao, so what you have to understand is that we are creating organization, so called MBA Center Africa, and there will be a guy, his name is Eric Bompa, he has an MBA from Chicago, and now we're working on creating a fund, okay, with Afro-American or African billionaires, and this fund will borrow money, will lend money and borrow money from funders and receive. So it would be easier for students to get financing when they come from Africa. For instance, that Hervé
Right.
doesn't come from Africa, so he will apply for Sorel, but not for Hervé, because it's a way for us to foster the MBA in Africa. And Hervé can, of course, it's true, Hervé, that yes, you can get 20-30% maximum, but don't expect that Colombia is going to pay for anything, and you cannot get a loan from the US unless you have a co-signer. Okay, of course, if you have a co-signer,
Yes.
it's possible, but so don't expect that Colombia is going to pay for your MBA. It's not true. Okay, but I will put you in contact with Eromo, with some Nigeria. Will tell you what he did, and Eromo has been able to cover it, and Eromo is 100% Nigerian, and he's been able to. So basically, we're going to stop there because I feel bad because it's the weekend, and at the same time, Joe came to see, probably you came to see what you came to see friends in Boston. Joe, you came to visit friends in Boston.
We actually came as a group of MBA students. So we rented an Airbnb, and here we are.
Okay, but you have to spend
it-
time with your friends, and I guess that you need time
It's
for that.
also-
I have students who
it's
started
al- it's-
MIT last week. The Master in Finance started last week, not the MBA. So I have already new students who are already in New York. Yeah. Okay.
I see.
So basically, famous. What would you say? Famous. Last piece of advice. What would you say? Can you mute yourself, Soab? Soab, can you mute yourself?
Sure.
Soab, can you mute yourself? Okay. So famous last word. What would you say? What piece of advice would you give to all of us, Joao?
Well, I mean, I think that the best advice that I can give you is, focus on the process, like the pre-application process, like embrace it in a way that that you understand that you'll need to spend a lot of time on that, and don't try to do the shortcuts, in the sense that there's actually not a lot of shortcuts that you can do to sort of have like a good grade on tests. Just focus on it, work on it, and if you do it, you'll for sure have a good grade. Don't worry with that, but you need to put the time on that. After having the tests, give your best self to the essays, and then be strategic about your decision in the school selection. That's my best advice in general. For Colombia, I couldn't stress more how happy I am with the school. I literally feel every day that the school is absolutely incredible. The professors are phenomenal. Like the quality of the students, the quality of the professors is incredible. It's literally world class. And I think that so far has been totally worth it. And so far, when I look backwards and when I think like all the weekends that I needed to stay at home studying for the GMAT, they were totally worth it. So this would be my best advice. Like work hard on that, but you'll for sure enjoy a lot, and it will for sure pay off later.
So it was very nice. So Joao, I want to tell you that I see that you have changed. Okay. I don't know if these 6 months change you. It's I can already notice a change. You seem to be more relaxed. I don't know, also more confident. Okay, really in your future. So I can tell, and that's something that I want to tell you, by the way, is that I see that the US MBA is a life-changing experience. And honestly, 9 months at when you're European, 9 months in Fontainebleau will not change you. Believe me.
Okay.
So I've seen that you speak more like an American already. You have your expression, you smile, etc. So US change you, okay? And
Okay,
it's
that's good. That's good.
yeah, I can tell already in 6 months, maybe by the time I saw you, you smile more, seem more confident, you develop yourself, etc. You must be happy in your life. And of course, it's when you have time for yourself to meet friends, to do things, you feel better, obviously, because your life is more interesting. And that's something that I wanted to say. I can see really that you have changed, okay? And that will have also a
Thanks.
big impact when you have an interview, okay? The fact that you smile, that you're confident, okay? Plus you have an MBA, so they will see what this guy is interesting, and I'm sure that you will achieve whatever you do. Of course, what is interesting is that Joao, when I met him, he had a plan of developing his company. I did not really believe that after an MBA will come back to Portugal to develop this company, but at the same time, it was the agreement that you had with your company, and the plan changed, which is good. I will give you a funny story. Remember, there was a guy called working for Hewlett Packard, and he came to see me, see Joao, like something like in June, okay, and he told me, oh, in that company, it's not working very well. It's not working very well. He knew that probably they will close the factory. He was in near Paris, in the Yvelines, which is a district canteen near Paris. And I will never forget that he got an offer from AMD in Lausanne, okay, mid-September, let's say 15 September. He told me, Hubert, have a good news and a bad news. I lost my job because they're closing the factory, but I got accepted to AMD. Okay, and at the same time, I say, wow. And he say, all my friends, they were laughing at me when I was preparing the MBA. So now I have a future. I know the guy works for a big consulting company, a big tech company in Switzerland, very well paid, imagine type of life that he has. And all his friends, they went to the unemployment agency. Okay. But yes, the fact that you plan ahead, because you never know what can happen in life. Look, for instance, Joao, he sold his company. Maybe today we'll be trying to find something, etc. He's already moving forward. He's already one step forward to plan the rest, and to plan the rest, it would be a career somewhere else. If he had been to INSEAD, which was the initial plan, career in venture capital would be impossible. Okay, they will never take him in venture capital after INSEAD. Okay, but the fact that he has a Columbia MBA, one of the best program in finance, the one that he has studied for almost 2 years, the fact that he's also building a network that you don't have in Fontainebleau, let's be realistic. But yes, it changed your life. Okay, so I explained that this morning to my students in class. You're 21, 22, go to America. Okay, it's the right time for you. Okay, then if you want to come back, etc., because it's not when you're older. When you're older, Joao could do it, but it's much more difficult when you have a family, when you establish to do so. Okay, so Joao, thank you very much. I can see that this experience has changed already a lot, and I'm sure that you'll be very successful in whatever you intend to do. And of course, if you come to Paris, because now I'm moving to Paris, don't hesitate to come to see us. You know, there are strong links between that. By the way, it's funny because yesterday I was reading a book about the Portuguese expeditionary corps that fought in France between 1916 and 1918. Okay, and there's even a cemetery. Okay. I don't know if you have heard about that, but they sent about 5,000 soldiers who fought with the French in the north of France, and it was called the Portuguese Expeditionary Corps. And
there's actually like
there was a movie. There was a movie.
There's a famous battle, the Battle of Lally, right?
Yeah. And they made a movie, and that's why I read the book about the movie, and then I found out, because I was not aware that the Portuguese had fought. And by the way, there are many funny stories, but of course, they were pretty unprepared, imagine, for this type of war. But they have done their best. But because they did that, because they were very close to England, so England brought them in the war because of the close relationship that there is between your country and England. So thank you very much, Joao. So we stayed with us 1 hour and a half. Normally we have, but there's so much that they want to see, and it's one of the most interesting seminars that we've ever had. And I think that students are inspired. No, Hervé, did you have a good time? Yes, Hervé?
Yes, it was very nice. Thanks, Joao.
Okay, yeah, I think that
Yes,
they
thank
appreciate
you.
because they learn a lot today. You told them a lot, so you're a great ambassador for Colombia. Have a good day. Thank you very much. Wow.
Thank you. Enjoy. Good luck to
Thank you.
everybody, and feel free to reach out to me if you need something else in the future.
If you
Good
need, I will
luck.
give you
And
his LinkedIn. LinkedIn.
Thank you.
Thank you very
feel
much.
free to
Wow.
do
Thank
it.
you.
Bye bye. Have a great day.
Bye.